Hi everyone. So this will be a comparison between a couple of dynamic driver earphones. For instance, the MoonDrop CHU, the latest release from MoonDrop, against the Tripowin Lea, against the brand new TinHifi T1s, against the old KBEAR KS1 and the Blon BL-03. So what is happening here is that dynamic drivers have come really a long way recently. So a lot of dynamic drivers now are popping out everywhere. A lot is happening. Really, a lot is happening, and the dynamic driver world is growing, really growing, especially in the earphone world. And I'm happy because you now have variety. You have a lot of variety to select. You can buy the brand new MoonDrop CHU. You could go for the Lea from Tripowin. You could also go for the TinHifi T1s. So what's happening here is that, look, tuning matters for any of these budget sets. If we have to compare build quality right off the bat, I would say the MoonDrop CHU as well as this as well as the Tripowin will always win because of their build. They're built like a tank and they're very well built. The only problem with that MoonDrop CHU is that it doesn't have a cable, a detachable cable. So that's a problem, a really big problem, because I know people are not talking about it because it sounds amazing and it's really good in sound quality, but the only thing there is that if you don't have a detachable cable, you're susceptible to damage quickly, because I have used earphones that don't have detachable cable and they don't last. They don't last. Like, I cannot count any earphone that doesn't have a detachable cable that I've used for, like, I don't know, a year before it gets bad. The safeguard I used that wasn't detachable, it got bad. Like, look, any earphone that does not come with a detachable cable eventually gets bad. So that is a problem. But if you notice, like the Blon now, I've been having this Blon for, I don't know, almost 3 years. I think 3 years now. Now, granted, one driver is a bit shorted recently, but no, sorry, a couple of a long while back, but it's still a very good earphone. But one thing is that if you buy earphones with detachable cable, they tend to last really long. This one is going to 2 years now. This is a 2-year-old earphone working perfectly. So these are things that you have to know. Now, the next thing would be sound quality. In terms of sound quality, it's going to be a toss-up, because so many people right now are loving the CHU. The problem with the CHU is that it lacks bass. It is very detailed. It has a very extended treble response. It is really good treble wise. It has no issues in extending. It has a lot of clarity. It has a lot of clarity, which is very necessary. It's very necessary and very good. But one thing it does lack is that low end, and that's a problem for a lot of people, because people will like to buy an earphone that has low end, and if they don't get that low end, it's a problem. Now, as far as the Lea sounds similar to the CHU. They almost graph and sound pretty much the same. The only difference is that the Lea sounds more warmer slightly and has more bass, slightly more bass. It's not like it has a lot more bass, and that's a very good thing for it, because you can enjoy it more. It has more fun to its tuning. And then if you need more bass but still need that detail, but in a V-shaped kind of format, go for the TinHifi T1s. This earphone, I really like it. I really like it because it's tuned very well, and the fact that you need more power to drive it means that there won't be anything like distortion. Like, this one is very easy to drive. If you run it too loud, immediately you sense the distortion. You sense the grain and all the issues that happen to drivers that are overdriven, just because it's easy to drive. So most of these earphones are easy to drive. This one, the Lea, is not easy to drive. Between the Lea and this, which one is easier to drive? I would say they are almost on the same level, but I would say this one is slightly more power hungry, because the volume I turn up this to run this is higher, slightly higher than this, slightly by a slight margin. It's slightly higher than the Lea, which people have to consider, because you know, when you buy an earphone, you need something that you can run easily. But if it's a bit power hungry, it might be a bit of an issue, because you might need a dongle DAC or something that has a bit of power that can run it. Don't get me wrong, you don't need 100+ milliwatts or 1000 milliwatts to run this. Just get a dongle like a Shanling dongle or any dongle out there that is from a good manufacturer. You're good to go. That's all you need. If you want to use it with your LG phone, turn your LG phone to high impedance and you will enjoy the TinHifi. That's all. I really like this TinHifi. In fact, I prefer this $20 TinHifi to the more expensive, very expensive TinHifi T5, the T5 that was a flop that came out, I think, was it last year or early last? I can't remember, but it came out last year or late 2020. That was before last year, so I can't remember. But that set was really bad. That it really wasn't tuned very well. So for a $20 set to be better than a $140 set, it goes to show you that TinHifi really put in a lot of work to tune this set. The other set that you can go for, if you really like a lot of bass, if you want a warm signature, you go for the BL-03. The BL-03 has a lot of bass. It goes deep. It doesn't have the cleanest bass, so it's one thing to have quantity of bass, but it's another thing to be able to go and be clean and be detailed. You know, this is a very old set. I told you guys I've had it for like 3 years, so it just for you to know how long it's been out. It even came out before I bought it 3 years ago. So this set, very old, 4 or 5 years now on the market. You can't blame it. The tuning of 4 or 5 years ago, it can never be compared to a 2022 tuning. And these Leá, the T1s, the CHU, all these newer sets, they will sound better because they are much more modern. It's just the honest truth. Regardless of your sentiment for the Blon BL-03, it will sound better than it just because it is tuned better. It has a slightly better driver, and the configuration of that driver is better now because of the advancements that's gone on over the years. So the BL-03 falls short, but it's a very wonderful set. Now, if this set existed today, yes, it will fall short of these newer ones, but because it's a very popular set that has existed, has competed over that years, I would say it's a very good set. It should be competing. The same goes for the KS1. The KS1 is a fantastic set. When I got it till recently, that I pretty much retired it, I only now use it for comparison. I would say it is one of the best budget sets over the last 2 years, bar none, just because it's very easy to drive. It has a lot of low end. It sounds okay. It really sounds okay. But, you know, because it doesn't have the modern tuning of a 2022 driver or a 2022 earphone, when you listen to it against this much more better set, you will start seeing the shortcomings of this one easily. This one has grain. It has grain in the sound. You will hear it, but you will hear it when you're playing your content at a higher volume. So that's another thing. These ones don't have it. This one is brighter than this. This one has more bass than this. It has the same amount of bass as this KS1. One has better bass, but this one has the most bass. The quantity and quality of bass that I prefer the most, I'll probably say I prefer this the most for the bass performance. The fact I prefer it because if I drive it at a very high volume or at a very high volume with an amp, I won't feel distortion, and distortion is very key. So these are things you have to look out for. The Tripowin is very good. It has a detailed sound. If I want something bright and very detailed in presentation, I will probably go for the Leá. The only problem with the Leá that I know a lot of people bring up, and they have said the reason why they don't like the Leá is just that it doesn't have good low end that transcends to the mids. Because if it has a very warm low end, you will pretty much end up with a tuning similar to either the Blon or the T1. That's just the setback. But every earphone cannot be tuned the same. That's just what you have to know. None can be tuned the same. So you just have to deal with the tuning the best way they come your way. So that's my comparison about between all these earphones here. All their links for all of them will be in the description if you want to purchase any single one of them. So do subscribe to the channel. Do follow us here on our YouTube channel because I do post reviews, comparisons, and a good thank you to Linsol again for sending out these earphones, the Tripowin Leá, the TinHifi T1s to me. That's it. Thank you guys. All the links will be in the description. I'll see you guys very much next time.